What is going on, guys? I'm SceptileMC here, George, the coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, here bringing you my GBA Season 7 Week 5 team builder against Monotui, the Tampa Bay Luxrays, Chris, whatever you want to call him. He is currently 4-0 as we are 3-1. He is in our division, which means if we are able to go with a victory in this game, we will actually be number 1 in our division, and he will fall to number 2 because we have a higher differential right now, even though he's 4-0 and we are 3-1. But other than that, this is going to be an extremely tough game. His team is extremely hard to prep for just because of the likes of the Zygarde and the Buzzwole there. Also, his Tauren Greninja and his Salazzle outspeed my entire team and hit me all for very hard damage. Also, I do have Mew on my team, which does not appreciate the Bisharp, and Jirachi is also a good counter to Mew, depending on speed ties and if he's just Choice Scarf or not. But without further ado, let me get right on into my team. So, the first Pokemon I decided to run is a Specially Defensive Suicune. This is basically my only way of countering the Greninja and the Salazzle on his team, because the Greninja and the Salazzle both do so much damage to me. They are just offensively so powerful, and they outspeed my entire team, so I need something that can take either hit, either of their stabs, and it is going to be Suicune. So, I have the Scald to protect the Toxic and the Ice Beam. Sorry about that, I had to burp. The reason I have the Scald and the Ice Beam is obviously just for the coverage. I have the Ice Beam for super effective damage on the Zygarde, as well as on the Roserade. I have the Protect and the Toxic, so I decided not to run the Rest and the Sleep Talk. Just because if I run Rest and Sleep Talk, he can easily go out into Roserade, or possibly set up +1 or +2 on the Zygarde and then go for the kill with 1,000 arrows. So I decided to protect the Toxic so I can Toxic the likes of the Mantine and the Miltank, because I do think either a Mantine or the Miltank is going to come, just because I did pick up an Entei this week over my Volcarona. So I did a trade with Chase, so that means that I will now be having Entei and a Bandit Sacred Fire. The only two Pokemon on his team that can actually switch in Bandit Sacred Fire is the Miltank and the Mantine. However, I feel like the Mantine prefers getting burned over the Miltank, and also I feel like he would rather have Defog than and then run Rocks on something else, or like the Jirachi over the Miltank. So Toxic is mainly for Mantine there, and then I can burn the Miltank with Scald if I need to. Toxic can also be used to hit the incoming Greninja. And I do apologize, I had to pause right there because there was talking outside and I didn't want it to be kind of picked up on the video. Pretty self-explanatory set with the Suicune here, why I'm choosing to run Specially Defensive over Physically Defensive in this week. I thought I should run Physically Defensive at first, but then I was just looking at his team and I'm like, well, the only Pokemon on my team that can actually handle Suicune, especially that can actually handle his specially offensive mons, are either Suicune or Mew, and Mew's more of an offensive spread this week, which is why my Suicune is a specially defensive spread. Next up, we decided to go with Light Doge right here, which is my Raikou. Now, Sub Calm Mind Raikou with the leftovers absolutely destroys this man's team. It really, if I get up a Sub and a Calm Mind and he's not like a Calm Mind like Florges or something and he doesn't have a Scarfer, I outspeed everything and I take everything out. However, I know that Chris Romano is going to be super prepared for Sub Calm Mind Raikou. Either he's going to bring a Choice Scarf Jirachi, which is going to be able to beat it with the Zen Headbutt. He's gonna bring Choice Scarf Buzzwole, which is gonna have Earthquake. He's gonna bring the Choice Scarf Zygarde, which is gonna have 1,000 arrows, or he's gonna bring the Calm Mind Florges. Out of all of those, I decided I would prep the most for the Zygarde and the Buzzwole being Choice Scarf, just because I think those are the most likely to be checks to my Calm Mind Raikou. So that's why I have the Shuka Berry. I have the Calm Mind, the T-Bolt, the HP Ice, and then I was thinking, do I want Substitute? And I was doing a few mock battles, and I kind of realized that the Substitute wasn't really used at all. I actually didn't use Raikou in any of the battles because I wanted to keep it for the late game, and it ended up just doing absolutely nothing. So I decided to switch on Volt Switch because I'm not the sub and I don't have the leftovers. What I want to do is kind of use Raikou as more of a mid-game kind of thing. I can Volt Switch around his team, considering his only ground type is going to be the Zygarde, and I do it with the Shuka Berry, so I can go for HP Ice after that, and I'm perfectly fine with sacrificing off my Raikou to get HP Ice damage off on the Zygarde, especially if it's Choice Scarfed. The Calm Mind, obviously, so I can power up my T-Bolt and HP Ice, and then I Volt Switch around. So pretty self-explanatory here. I do outspeed, I believe, what is it, max speed Jirachi with this thing, so I outspeed base 100s, and the rest is just all in bulk. After that, we do have Captain right here. The new running a Z move. That's right, guys. We are running a Z move on Mew. Who would have thought we would ever run a Z move? I hate Z moves. I don't like Z moves, but it works in this scenario, and I'm going to explain why. So, max speed, max special attack Mew. The reason we are max speed is if he runs to run the max speed Jirachi, we outspeed it. Initially, this was a Colbur Berry set, and I believe it had the T-Bolt over the Vacuum Wave, but I figured out, I was just like scrolling through the moves, I'm like, what else could I run on Mew? And I saw Vacuum Wave, and I'm like, this is the perfect move right now in this situation. So, I have the Vacuum Wave for the Greninja, the Miltank, and the Bisharp, and the Alolan Golem. I have the Psyshock for the Buzzwole, the Zygarde. Well, the Psyshock is for the Buzzwole, the Roserade, the Mantine, the Florges, and the Salazzle. The Flamethrower is mainly for the Jirachi, the Buzzwole, and the Roserade. And the PsycheMC will be able to use Psyshock against the Zygarde, so we can OHKO a bulky Zygarde, we can OHKO a bulky Mantine, we can OHKO a bulky Florges, depending on the spreads. And the Miltank as well. If the Miltank is a defensive spread and I can't take him out with either a Vacuum Wave or a Psyshock, I can use the PsycheMC and I can take him out with that. So, me right here is my late game sweeper. We got Captain with the PsycheMC, and basically, if I set up the situation right, I can go into Mew at any point in this game, click Nasty Plot, and just win the game. If he doesn't have Choice Scarf, both the Buzzwole or Choice Scarf Jirachi, I win. I straight up win if I get the prior damage that I need on his Pokemon. I need like a Rock Switching and a Life Orb damage on the Greninja for my +2 Vacuum Wave to even take it out, and then it's just over. To a defensive Miltank, I believe Vacuum Wave does about 60% at max. I OHKO a Bisharp, +2 Psyshock, pretty much 2 KOs any form of Florges. The Mantine can't take a +2 Psyshock. The Roserade, yeah, it's just, this Pokemon's going to be very, very deadly in this match, I feel like, if I'm able to set it up right. Next up, we got proper usage. Round 2 with the Rocky Helmet defensive Drapion. It's just so good in these games. If he's a choice for Jirachi, he can probably just U-turn around my team or click Ice Punch against my Garchomp. So I have the Rocky Helmet on this to kind of punish him a bit and put him in range of the +2 Flamethrower, because I don't want to run the Fire Blast. Then I got the knockoff, mainly for the Jirachi. I can try to knock off other things, but if I don't see a Jirachi, I probably won't click knockoff that much. The Poison Jab is obviously for stab against like the Buzzwole, the Roserade, the Mantine, for poisons as well as a super effective damage against the Florges. And then the EQ is there, so EQ is mainly there for the likes of Bisharp and the Alolan Golem and the Salazzle. I can also click EQ against Jirachi if I want to. But honestly, it's mainly for the Bisharp, so he can't like set up against me. And then I have the Whirlwind, so I was kind of afraid of either if I'm in versus Zygarde and I have Drapion in and it's late game, I'm pretty confident he would predict my switch and go for a Dragon Dance or a Coil, which is why I have the Whirlwind for that. If the Buzzwole is sub-bulk up, that could be a big threat. If the Miltank is Curse, that could be a big threat. And if the Alolan Golem ends up being some offensive spread, that could also be a big threat. So that's why I have the Whirlwind on this thing. Can also kind of protect myself against the Bisharp because the Rocky Helmet. Yeah, so that is that Pokemon right there. Next up, we got Samahata right here. So on this Pokemon, we have Max Attack, Adamant Nature. We got 200 speed in there. With 200 speed, I believe we outspeed a speed creeping Roserade, because my Togekiss hits about, I think, 144 or 5 base speed if I'm timid, so he would outspeed with a bulky Jirachi and a bulky Roserade, only to outspeed my Togekiss, so my Garchomp can actually outspeed those Pokemon that are trying to speed creep that. This is probably going to be my lead, to be honest. I have the Yachi Berry, so I can take an Ice Beam off of Greninja. And then I have the Stealth Rocks, obviously, because his only form of defog is the Mantine. And if he wants, no, that is actually his only form of hazard removal. I have the Stone Edge also for the Mantine if he wants to switch it in after I go for Stealth Rocks and he wants to Ice Beam me, I can go for Stone Edge into a KO. Earthquake hits pretty much everything else on his team for neutral damage. He does not have an Earthquake switch in, except for the Buzzwole and the Mantine, and I have Stone Edge for the Mantine, and then I have HP Flying for the Buzzwole. So I do about 80% with HP Flying, and that is just crazy, especially if I get off rocks and he tries to switch into an Earthquake. I just KO with HP Flying. So the Garchomp right here, I could have run a more offensive spread. I could have run, well, I know it's very offensive, but I could have run a Life Orb set I debated, but I kind of figured the Yache Berry would just be kind of better in the situation that I will be in. And then the last Pokemon we have right here is Elkip. So with Elkip, I am the Colbur Berry set because I don't want to be taking a Pursuit off of a Bisharp. I don't want to take a Dark Pulse off of the Ninja. Mainly those two, and then also Crunch off Zygarde is a big possibility. I have the Taunt, the Shadow Ball, the Dazzling Gleam, and the Will-O-Wisp. I can stop a Calm Mind Florges with Taunt. I can stop a Curse like Miltank with Stomp. Yeah. Okay. I can stop a Curse Miltank with Taunt, and then I can burn it, and he can't like heal himself up. I can stop a Sweep with Bisharp with Taunt. I can stop him setting up hazards with Roserade with Taunt. And I can stop a Zygarde Sweep with Taunt as well. So that's why I have that. And then I have the Will-O-Wisp, which can kind of burn everything on his team, because I outspeed pretty much everything except for the Salazzle and the Florges. The Shadow Ball hits pretty much everything. It is the Jirachi, the Buzzwole, the Zygarde, the Roserade, the Mantine, it even hits the Greninja for decent amount of damage, just like 30-40%. And then the Dazzling Gleam is obviously to KO the Buzzwole and the Greninja, as well as the Zygarde. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to be the team. Leave your comment down below on like how you think I did on my prep this week. I think I prepped pretty well. I'm really excited for the new set. It is going to be. I feel like it's going to be the win con in the game. I feel like the game is going to come down to can my Muse like sweep at the end, pretty much. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. So if you did enjoy, I'd really appreciate you to comment, like, rate, or subscribe. I'm SceptileMC or George, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!